Hello everyone, I'm Anthony, this is Dave. We are from the show, and we wanted to do a little video to talk about the events that happened last Sunday in Orlando at Pulse nightclub. We wanted to be able to have somewhere to talk about our feelings and let everyone who's been affected by this, directly or indirectly, that we are there for you. And hopefully we can find a little catharsis in expressing our feelings.
I was actually at the lake, and I got a text or phone call from Anthony telling me, what had happened. And initially in the morning, I had seen something on Facebook that told me that there was some kind of shooting. And I mean, you know as well as I, there's been so many different things going on lately with the shootings and killings and whatnot that you kind of just scroll past things and you don't really pay attention to it too much.
It's a shame how numb we've
become as a society to just not even pay attention to that anymore. And then when I really took note as to what happened, then it hit me. And it was hard to deal with.
I think initially I had felt guilty for not crying, for not feeling more, but I want you all to understand that you should not have felt guilty. Shock takes over, and you don't know how to react to such a terrible situation. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until a couple days later, I was sitting there with my mother, and we were looking through the text messages of the gentleman who was texting his mother from the bathroom, and we just looked at each other and we realized, like, what if that was us? What if that was my mother and I trying to communicate, knowing your inevitable end because somebody hated you so much? And at that point, I think, is when the sadness took over, and definitely anger played a huge part in the process.
To go through and see people on my Facebook that, oh my God, their family was affected by this. Their cousin was just shot. And so when you start seeing those things happen, and then people that you talk to are directly affected by those of them that were killed, all of a sudden the chain starts the chain reaction starts to happen. And the next thing you know, it's spreading over an entire community where then everybody is affected, and you start to wonder who's next.
I mean, there was just zero filter, zero patience for so much of the ignorance that we saw on social media.
And some of the commentary that people were putting on their Facebook, some of the memes that were going up, people just making jokes about things. It's not funny. None of it was funny.
I understand that people sometimes use humor to cope.
To lighten moods.
Right, I mean, just to even help themselves process. But the fact was, these people were not even buried yet. Their families had not even had time to mourn. It was just so inappropriate. Some of the right. things that people said and did, it blows my mind. And I definitely, lost a couple friends on social media because I was so angry with my own process of grieving that not only were we targeted as Americans, we were targeted as a community of people who are different. We are different. As much as we are equal, we have differences, and differences should be celebrated. Unfortunately, they are oppressed.
We will get through this, though, eventually. Time will heal everyone's wounds, and I'm hoping that through all of this, that, with this new generation, too, that is very open about who they are, that everybody can just push through and continue to be who they are right now. If you look everywhere, there are pride flags everywhere. People are talking about it all over the place. And it's such a big thing right now. And over time, sometimes people forget. And people kind of go back into their world. And they kind of digress and, go on with their daily lives.
I think that's important to highlight. That as a community, making these small steps forward for equality. We had the marriage bill passed. Like, no, they cannot deny us anymore on a federal level. And I think that at some point we got a little comfortable with that. People like ourselves who had previously been activists, we kind of had this sigh of relief, even though it was not, all-encompassing rights. It was still a step forward, and I think that we all kind of took a back seat sometimes, especially, we get busy with our own lives.
And this became a huge wake-up call.
Right.
Huge.
We realized, I think both of us, that we needed to continue our efforts in the community because we're not equal.
If you were to take away the fact that there was no religion, okay? No religion, and we're not going to talk about who anybody sleeps with in bed. To look at each other, we're exactly the same. So why is it that when it comes down to rights, that we're different? We're not. We bleed the same that you do.
Inalienable human rights are just that. Human rights. And we need those rights because we're human. The fact that a man or a woman or somebody in power can take those rights away from us is harmful to any community, whether it be
detrimental,
whether or not it be us or any considered minority group. We are all the same. We need to be treated equally, as do any minority group.
And we're getting there slowly. We thought we were a lot closer than apparently we are, but it's going to take more time. Obviously, maybe it'll be in our lifetime, and maybe it won't be. So what we've done moving forward, and what we're going to suggest you do too, to kind of help in the process of rebuilding, is to be a part of volunteering. Go out and visit your local LGBTQ areas and things that are happening. See who is in your area, contact them, see if you could do any kind of support for them.
Community centers, fundraisers for events, go volunteer for your local pride organizations. We need to continue to stay together and move forward together.
I mean, being part of a youth service, I used to do that, and being that mentor for the younger generation as they grow older, that's also out there too. So I think that's important for people to get involved in.
Right, they need to understand that the fight is not over yet. They may still be able to hold the hand of their boyfriend when they're in high school, and maybe it's slightly more accepted thanks to television or whatever, but at the end of the day, we're still denied rights. So get out there, fight for your right. I mean, for lack of a better cliche.
Yeah.
Below in the description in this video, we will be putting a link to the GoFundMe page for the victims and those affected directly by the Orlando massacre at Pulse nightclub. We encourage you to donate. Even though we can't physically be there for those affected, we can continue to not only fight for our equal rights to make sure that this doesn't happen again, but we can help, and this is how you can help. Please donate what you can, even if it's only $1. Anything will help.
So remember, everybody, live with intention.
Be bold in the face of adversity.
And live the life that you were destined for.